we're about to explore a true masterpiece of Islamic architecture, a monument that's been standing for well over 1,000 years. But this isn't just a story about a building, it's a story about a survivor. So let's uncover some of its secrets. Just look at that. Right in the heart of historic Cairo, this incredible shape rises against the skyline. A spiral minaret. It's the only one of its kind in all of Egypt. You get this feeling that it belongs to another time, maybe another place entirely. And you know what? In a lot of ways, it does. And that really brings us to the big question, doesn't it? How did this very distinct piece of architecture, something born in the heartland of the Abbasid Empire in modern-day Iraq, find its way here? Well, the answer is a fantastic story of raw ambition, power, and the birth of a dynasty. To really understand this mosque, we've got to start with its most iconic feature. I mean, you can't mess it. That unbelievable minaret. So this design is no accident. The connection here is crystal clear. It's a direct echo of the Great Mosque of Samarra. And this was so much more than just an artistic choice. It was a huge political statement. He was literally importing the imperial style of the caliph's capital and planting it right here in Cairo. So while we know it's official imperial inspiration, there's also this wonderful local legend that gives the whole thing a more personal, spontaneous feel. The story goes that its creator, Ahmad ibn Tulun, was just fiddling around one day, winding a piece of parchment around his finger. When someone asked him what on earth he was doing, he just announced, "I am designing my minaret." A simple, human moment that created an absolute icon. And this brilliant design wasn't just for any mosque. It was destined to be the centerpiece of a whole new city. A city born from the grand vision of one incredibly powerful man. Ahmad ibn Tulun was, let's just say, not your average governor. He was sent from the Abbasid court, but man, did he move fast. In just a few years, he seizes control of Egypt's finances, builds his own private army, and then, boom, establishes the Tulunid dynasty. This was a huge deal. It was the first time Egypt had been independent in centuries. So you see, this mosque was never just a place of worship. It was designed from the ground up to be the ceremonial and spiritual heart of his brand new capital city, Al-Qatai. And its scale was just monumental. Think about it. It was vast enough to hold his entire army for Friday prayers. That's the kind of statement he was trying to make. All right, let's step inside now and explore the architectural magic that makes this space feel so breathtakingly serene. The first thing that really hits you when you walk in is just the scale. The sheer size of it all. We're talking over 26,000 square meters, which is more than 6.5 acres. It's still the largest mosque in Cairo by area. This is a space that was designed to both humble you and inspire you all at once. And that quote, it really gets to the heart of its design philosophy. See, later mosques in Cairo would be covered in incredibly ornate decorations, but the power of Ibn Tulun comes from something else entirely. It comes from its vast open courtyard and that profound sense of peace you get from the rhythm of its repeating forms. Even the arches here were trailblazing. This was the very first building in Egypt to consistently use the pointed arch all the way through. That one feature would go on to become a defining element of Islamic architecture in this part of the world for the next 1,000 years. And what's really remarkable is that this was 2 full centuries before that same feature became famous in Europe's great Gothic cathedrals. The decoration is unique, too. You're not going to find a lot of carved stone or glittering mosaics. Nope. Here, the ornamentation is all exquisitely carved stucco. This technique, with all its intricate geometric and floral patterns, was another one of those direct imports from Samarra, a real showcase of the incredible skill of Abbasid artisans right here in Cairo. Now, surrounding the main prayer hall is another really clever feature, these things called ziyadas, which are basically outer enclosures. These huge open-air courtyards acted as a kind of buffer, separating the quiet, sacred space of the mosque from all the hustle and bustle of the city and its markets just outside the walls. But honestly, for all its amazing design, the most incredible part of this mosque's story isn't just how it was built, it's the simple fact that it's still here at all. Because see, the Tulunid dynasty was shockingly short-lived. Just a few decades after it was founded, the Abbasids came back to retake control. And they didn't just conquer the new capital, Al-Qatai, they razed it to the ground. Every palace, every home, gone. The only thing they left standing was this mosque. So why was it spared? Well, maybe it's because it had already become a sacred landmark. There was this local folklore that the hill it was built on, Jabal Yeshker, was the exact spot where Noah's Ark landed after the Great Flood. So this abandoned monument just became wrapped up in legend. For centuries, it just lay there, neglected, until its revival came about because of this absolutely incredible story. In the 13th century, an emir named Laden was on the run after a political assassination. He took refuge in the huge, deserted mosque, and while he was hiding for his life, he made a vow. If he survived and ever rose to power, he would restore the decaying monument. Well, miraculously, he did. He became Sultan Laden and he fulfilled his promise, funding a major restoration that ultimately ensured the mosque's survival for all of us. So today, because of that wild history, the mosque stands not as a ruin, but as a living monument, a true architectural touchstone. I mean, its list of achievements is just staggering. It's the oldest mosque in Cairo that still exists in its original form. It's the sole survivor of a lost capital city and an entire lost dynasty. And on top of all that, it's a perfectly preserved masterpiece of the classical Abbasid style. It's a time capsule. But in the end, its greatest legacy is probably its influence. Those key innovations, the grand courtyard plan, the use of those big brick piers, the pointed arch, they became the foundational grammar, the architectural DNA, for so much of the Islamic architecture that would define Cairo for the next millennium. And so, after more than 1,100 years, the Mosque of Ibn Tulun continues to offer this sanctuary of profound peace and simplicity right in the heart of one of the world's most bustling cities. Its survival, against all odds, really leaves you wondering, doesn't it, about the enduring power of architecture to create a sacred space that can truly transcend time.